Hello there. Happy Saturday. So I'm sorry I can't be there with you today, but instead I've made this little video to share with you, together with a presentation to go with it. So I hope that this is useful for you, and I hope you have a very productive and enjoyable day down there in Silicon Valley today. So my name is Bob Summerwill. I'm the Executive Director of the Ethereum Classic Cooperative. We are a USA-based non-profit supporting the Ethereum Classic ecosystem. The cooperative was founded in late 2017 and is really one of the primary entities funding and supporting work within the ETC ecosystem. So what is Ethereum Classic? Well, ETC could be seen as Ethereum technology married with Bitcoin philosophy. So if Bitcoin is digital gold, then perhaps ETC is programmable digital gold. The differentiation I would express between Ethereum and ETC is that where Ethereum seeks to be a world computer, primarily a distributed application platform, where Ether can really be seen as the fuel for the engine rather than money, or at least that has often been the categorization for Ether. On ETC, that is not the case. ETC is really goes in that hard money kind of line, same as Bitcoin. So yeah, like Bitcoin, ETC is digitally scarce with a fixed supply cap, fixed emissions schedule. So that was added shortly after the fork in 2017. ETC uses proof of work and intends to stick with proof of work into eternity. ETC values highly censorship resistance, trust minimization, and general safety and security over a sort of a move fast and break things approach. The aim really is that the protocol can continue for multiple decades to come. ETC is a grassroots movement. There was no crowd sale, there was no pre-mine, not quite a Bitcoin style virgin birth, but rather the corpse left on the road that was reanimated by community members and true believers and miners and speculators, and here we are. Unlike Bitcoin though, ETC has rich statefulness and has a deterministic Turing machine bounded by gas, also known as the EVM, the Ethereum Virtual Machine. So really, ETC aiming very much to be Bitcoin with smart contracts. If you look at across CoinMarketCap and filter down just to the proof of work chains, you'll see that on market cap, ETC is number 4, and soon to be number 3, with Ethereum moving to proof of stake. Dogecoin has a higher market cap. They also have a plan to migrate to proof of stake, and of course both Dogecoin and Litecoin down there below us, and Bitcoin of course, do not have that smart contract functionality. They're only suitable for value transfers really. If you look at daily volume of trading through that same lens, you might be quite surprised to see that the ETC is number 3, again behind Bitcoin and Ethereum. ETC has always had a fair fair range of, fair liquidity, lots of daily trading volume going on, speculative presumably, the majority of it, but there are a very wide set of exchange listings for ETC, so obviously plenty of arbitrage, other kinds of trading going on there, and that has always been the case. So again, with Ethereum out of the way, you will have Bitcoin number 1 and ETC number 2 on that score. When it comes to hash rate, ETC is actually at a lifetime high today, and that is a trend which has been sort of a fairly slow growth over the last couple of years, but has really accelerated of late. Just the last few days particularly, there seems to be a large migration of Ethereum miners with 5 gig cards, because the DAG has just grown such that a 5 gig card can no longer be used to mine Ethereum. So I think a lot of those have come over to ETC. But more generally, I think we are just also seeing the early stages of hash migration from Ethereum to ETC. ETC is outperforming ETH on price in 2022. We've had a real catch-up. Historically, Ethereum to ETC ratios in lots of different vectors have been 40 to 1 or so on. Some of that coming right down, and the same on the mining, actually down to about 20x. Protocol differences between Ethereum and ETC are few. Generally speaking, ETC is very compatible with Ethereum, with us having adopted the vast majority of protocol changes since the time of the fork. The differences are the DAO fork never happened on ETC, so the DAO still exists on ETC and all of the fallout of that debacle. The difficulty bomb was disabled shortly after forking, because there was no future transition to proof of stake to be encouraged. As I mentioned before, a fixed monetary policy was introduced in 2017, so future emissions are known and unchanging. Where Ethereum has halvenings, ETC has fiftenings, where the block rewards are reduced by 20% every 5 million blocks. ETC will obviously not be transitioning to proof of stake, and another change which happened on Ethereum, which is not brought across intentionally to ETC, was the EIP 1559 fee market change, where burn was introduced. Again, that was incompatible with the fixed monetary policy of ETC, so that didn't happen. Talking about protocol features, just a quick point on FW, on Ethereum POW. So recently they released a sort of state Declaration of Independence style set of boasts and promises, all of which have actually already been delivered by ETC, often quite a few years ago. So, for example, one of the first things they mentioned was the DAO fork. So this is a 6-year late reaction to the crimes of 6 years ago. Anyway, so yeah, the points they made were no pre-mine or inflation, check. Maintain proof of work, check. No EIP 1559, check. No idolizing leaders, check. And their final one is to eventually become completely autonomous and self-sustained, devoid of any governance entity. We set the goal to achieve it in 3 years, so obviously that all of these have already been achieved by ETC a long time ago, and we have a existing fairly rich ecosystem, breadth of exchange listings, pools in place, projects, developers, all of these things we have already. Though, and especially with the introduction of Antpool into the ETC ecosystem and bringing the funding that they have pledged, along with funding already budgeted from the co-op ourselves, we anticipate a real large growth of DApp level ecosystem and rich DeFi and NFT projects. These things are already in place, but they're small, and there is plenty of space to be grown and to build this ecosystem. And this particular meeting event is to gather people to talk towards those goals. So I welcome you all. Mining ETC, very simple for existing F miners. Many of the pools that you know and love support ETC as well as F. Or if your favourites are not there, then you can have a little look around. The migration is not difficult. The mining algorithm is almost identical. We just had a change to the DAG size and the DAG size growth in 2020 to bring older hardware the possibility of that mining ETC again. So where 4 and 5 gig cards have dropped off for Ethereum, those are still workable on ETC. Another change that there was, not directly related to mining, but more to security, is MES, which is a sort of overlay on top of the consensus, which penalizes long reorgs. So there is a fantastic document that Isaac, our tech lead on the CoreGeth client, has written all about ETC security, both looking at the hash rate growth that's been since the time of those 2020 51% attacks, but also talking about MES, and how that affects some of that calculus. So there's some great little calculators and things in there. So that link will be shared. There are two clients that we support on ETC. CoreGeth, which is a Geth fork which adds ETC support, simple enough, and also Hyperledger Bezu has ETC support in its main line. So we have 2 engineers working full-time for the cooperative on CoreGeth, and one on Hyperledger Bezu. So yeah, the Bezu code is hosted by the Hyperledger Foundation, and Diego, our developer there, just works directly in that main line. He is a maintainer with commit rights. On the CoreGeth side, we are working that downstream. Many changes do go back up to Geth. We try to be good citizens. We always run all of the cross-client tests on CoreGeth. You could sync Ethereum on CoreGeth if you wish. That would probably not be a particularly common use case, but you can. It is a pure additive. So we also have extensions for parity style tracing, and in general though, CoreGeth would be pretty much a slot-in replacement for Geth in any of those scenarios. There is, because of that, the tweak to the hashing algorithm, which is called ETC hash. mining pools are using a slightly different code than you would for Ethereum to account for that. There is open source implementation of ETC hash in Go standalone that can be used. Also, where are we? Many of the proprietary mining software was updated to support ETC. We have code which is a fork of Open Ethereum pool for reference there. The specification for ETC hashes in the form of an ECIP, which is the Ethereum Classic Improvement Proposal format. So that's ECIP 1099, and MES is 1100. For block explorers, the cooperative supports a Block Scout instance, which is hosted at their main blockscout.com site, but we are running it. It's through their URL. So there are instances for the mainnet and for the Mordor proof of work testnet, and Coti, the proof of authority testnet. Ethereum Classic.org is a community maintained website, which is fantastic. Great resources on there of all kinds. I thoroughly encourage you to look there. There are two different Discord instances. There's the main community Discord instance, and then more recently there is a Discord instance which I have set up for the hosted by the cooperative, with the main difference there being a more moderated experience. Sometimes the community Discord can get quite toxic and noisy and loud, and that's not to everyone's preference. So now we have another option. There is a Telegram group, there's a Reddit group. Neither of those are things which I have used much myself. There are numerous Twitter accounts good to follow. Myself, the cooperative account. There is eth_classic is kind of the closest there is to an official ETC account, but something we commonly say is there is nothing official in ETC. There is no foundation. There's no singular anything. We encourage a multiplicity of all of these resources. We do not want single points of control or capture. What more is there to say? Another thing we have is public RPC endpoints. Using ETC, all the normal tools you would use in exactly the same way, MyCrypto, MetaMask, any of these, you're just pointing to the ETC endpoint rather than the Ethereum one, and just works. The cooperative host public RPC endpoints through Rivet. So we are hitting hundreds of millions of requests per month. Soon, I think up into the billions. So that's I guess that's kind of in Fiora for ETC. The cooperative are in the process of getting a Gnosis safe instance up and hosted. That should be very helpful. There are two very active DEXs, so ETC Swap and Hebe Swap, that are seeing a real big growth in volume over the last few weeks, in particular, on a real up tear in many different
areas actually on ETC. You know, heading into the merger is an awful lot of excitement and an awful lot of new eyes on ETC, where you have, you know, this clear differentiation now between Ethereum and ETC, and you know, a lot of people have very strong belief in proof of work as you know, the one proven way of really decentralizing and decoupling in a way which proof of stake does not satisfy everyone's fears there. Let me just have a quick look. Yeah, also just mentioning Hebe. So Hebe also have what they call ETC Desktop, which is a you know, a desktop app for running a node with a GUI front end. Something which many people really love to have. They have a browser extension as well, and they also have a project called HENS, which is an ENS name service equivalent for ETC. There are a goodly number of NFT projects on ETC as well. You know, many of them, you know, copycat, not particularly exciting, but you know, decent number of them, and that growing. With these active dexes, we are starting to see an awful lot more ETC ERC20 token projects. You know, little shit coins people are making and having you know, having their casino games with. Not to recommend any of that, but people are using the platform and having fun, and seeing that activity is you know, is the delight. There are a number of bridged assets on ETC through multi-chain, and let me see if I can find. So for example, you know, bridged DAI. I think it's DAI, Tether, USDC, bridged ETH, wrapped ETC as well. A couple of different wrapped ETC ones for facilitating the dexes, and there are more. So let me see if there's anything else that I can think of. Let me just check Isaac's fabulous document. Yeah, tell you what. So yeah, let me leave it there for now, and thank you all for your time. I hope you have a productive and useful afternoon today. I would urge you, you know, come and join the Discord servers. You know, follow us on Twitter. Come and engage. Check out the Ethereum Classic .org website, and then ETC Cooperative.org as well as our own. I just say again, you know, thank you very much to Antpool for hosting this meeting, and for their support of ETC. You know, with the money that they have pledged and brought to the table, I am sure that we are going to make fantastic strides in terms of that DApp ecosystem, and really build richness in ETC, which has been, you know, a little absent over the last few years. You know, ETC has been alive and kicking, but not very exciting, and I would love to see exciting. And I hope that some of you have some excitement to bring to the table, and that we can help you with that. Okay. Thanks very much, everyone. All the best. Bye bye.